and cheer these guys on.
So he did. Inoue saved the weekend. Thanks for watching the TstreeT Controversy with 5U360. 8th round stoppage of Ramon Cardenas, and a great performance by Cardenas, to be very honest, for what a lot of people expected. He dropped Inoue in round number 2. I'm going to get you a small fair use clip of that knockdown, and let me go ahead and be honest. The fight woke me up. Well, actually, I did take a nap. One thing about these top rank events sometimes is they can start dreadfully too late. But with the NBA playoffs on here in the States and a fight on a Sunday night, it's 11:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't say anything better. Well, however, there are some concerns about Inoue to where, he's been dropped now in 2 of his last 3 fights. No, excuse me, 2 of his last 4 fights. He was dropped by Inoue. And he was dropped by Cardenas, and now he's going to go on the fight Akhmadaliev, his WBA mandatory. And then if we're lucky, we're going to get him versus Junto Nakatani at the end of the year, but likely sometime around the beginning of the year. So first, let's go listen to the post-fight interview. Let's just start there, right? Let me see if I can find the clip for you. I'm pretty pissed off. Let me tell you what happened. The Zone copyrighted 2 of my videos. I'm talking about something like had my videos taken down, and not just a regular copyright strikes on 2 videos that I did. One on the Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, which I labeled the worst fight, one of the worst fights of all time, up there with Edwin De Los Santos, or at least one of the worst fights I've ever seen. And my Canelo video just so happens 2 of the worst fights, the 2 worst fights of the weekend. It's pretty crazy to me that they picked those 2 videos to single out and send copyright strikes for. Nonetheless, it is what it is. I'm used to it. So I'm going to be very careful. Top Rank, they usually will send me a notification to tell me to take certain clips out. They won't just directly send like a copyright strike. So, I'm not going to give them too much shit, but I'll be very careful. Let's listen to this post-fight interview, by the way.
It was an outstanding night here.
By the way, good atmosphere. Shout out to Edwin Vasquez, Rafael Espinoza,
with the monster Naoya
Inoue, and
in our fighter meetings, I asked you when you were happiest in the ring, and you said when I'm in a brawl. What did you think about how happy you were tonight?
殴り合いになるっていうのがファイターミーティングで好きだって言ってましたけれども、これでどういう意味だったか分かりました。
皆さん、今日の試合見ていただければ、僕が殴り合いが好きだということは証明できたと思います。すごい楽しかったです。
I think watching the fight tonight, everybody's very much aware that I like to brawl.
Thank you very much, Nobu. Now, that round when he landed that left hook and he dropped you, what was your thinking at that point?
2ラウンドに倒された時はどういうことを思ってました？
非常に驚きましたけど、冷静に組み立て直すことができました。
I was very surprised.
Not fight of the
I was
year.
able to calmly put myself together.
What were the adjustments you made to avoid that left hook the rest of the fight?
左のフックを当たらないようにする調整はどういうことをされましたか
？1ラウンド目終わって、微妙に距離が調整できたかなと思ったんですけど、2ラウンド目でまたちょっとズレがあったので、もう3ラウンド目から絶対にもらわないようにしっかり。
In the first round, I thought I had a pretty good distance, but in the second round, it kind of got a little loose. And then from thereafter, I made sure I didn't take that punch again.
You landed 49% of your power punches, 108 of 220. What was that like in terms of him being able to take so many shots until the finish?
パワーパンチを 49% 当ててますけれども、あれだけ相手がパンチを受け止められるっていうのはどう思いました？
非常にタフな相手でした。オッズ的にはかなりの差があったと思うんですけど、相手は必死に倒しに来てるんで、ボクシングはそんな甘くないもんだと痛感しました。
Well, odd-wise, he's really far apart, but I knew he was tough. But, boxing is not that easy.
When you look at the future, we had some interested observers tonight. Shushu Carrington, the #1 contender. We had the featherweight champion, Rafael Espinosa, who had a great victory before you. What do you want next?
ケニントンとかフェザー級の選手、前の試合のエスピノサとか見てましたけれども、次は誰と戦いたいですか？
次は9月にムロジョン・アフマダレフと戦います。
Next September, MJ.
All right, first fight in America in 4 years. What did you think? Because last time we saw you, we were in the bubble alone. What about the crowd?
今日の観客はどうでした？
非常に待ち望んでくれたファンの方が、多くいると感じました。皆さん楽しんでいただけたらまたアメリカで試合がしたいと思います。
They were supportive and great.
There was a nice crowd in there. The whole upper bowl was closed,
This weekend,
but still
you were supposed to be
solid
the
crowd
best.
for
And you
Inoue
turned
on
out to be the
Sunday in
best.
Vegas.
Because Canelo fought last night. We had the fight in New York. What message did the monster send
Look
to
how his
boxing?
legs just gave out.
今週の、3つの試合、今週末の3つの試合の最後で一番ベストの試合になりましたけれども、どう思いますか？
昨日、おとといと試合の賛否両論もありますけども、僕が一番盛り上げることができたんじゃないかなと思います。
Yes, I saw the two fights before, and I think this was the most exciting fight.
Arigato. Thank you very much. The monster Naoya Inoue.
What an ovation, and an ovation deserved for both.
Let's hear it from Cardenas, but look at this shot. He's got to be careful because with the right fighter, man, hit him with that shot. And one thing for sure is he's one of those type of fighters where if you put him down, you better make sure he stays down because he's gonna come back and he's gonna lay you out. We saw it with Neri, and now we're seeing it with Cardenas. And remember, in the first fight, Donaire and him was going to war. Donaire was touching him up, and of course he went on to beat Donaire. But Nonito Donaire actually broke his face. That's a mean shot. That's a beautiful hook. And Cardenas started selling out on those hooks too. I'm surprised he didn't end up going to sleep with the way he was selling out on those hooks. He came out there to try to lay Inoue out. It was quick too. Like, man. Look, as you can see. Glove down. Look, he about to catch it. I wonder if I think he knew. Let's see if I can get you a little bit slow motion. But yeah, this card saved the weekend. Thank God. Let's see if it gets you slow motion. He gonna miss. Woo. When fighters like legs go out like that. Oh, let's listen in.
Decided underdog. Very few people thought you could do what you did tonight. Talk to me about how you feel.
I feel good. First things first, I want to thank my manager, my promoter, my team. I just want to thank the people behind me more than anything. And other than that, I feel good. The fight was a tough fight. I said it all, camp. I said it all, every interview. He's pound for pound one of the greatest fighters on the planet. And, I just wanted to give the fans a fight worth watching.
In that second round, when you were able to drop him with that counter left hook, what went through your mind?
What went through my mind was just to keep working because I knew he was going to come back and I knew he was going to come back stronger. And for me, it was just keep the same game plan. You keep working, keep walking him down.
It looked like in the 7th round, he landed a big shot to your ribs. Was there any moment that he hurt you?
No. It wasn't so much the power, man. Honestly, it wasn't so much the power. It was more the overwhelmingness of him throwing 6, 7, 8 punches at a time. And that's mainly what it was. It was, he has a solid punch, but nothing where I was scared of.
And in terms of what you think about yourself now, because you were able to compete with a pound for pound great like Naoya Inoue.
I mean, it just goes to show, man, that I just want to put boxing back to what it was, the best fighting the best. I want to thank my promoter more than anything because he has an eye for talent, man, and my manager as well. And they gave me this opportunity, and I didn't want to let them down. Win, lose, or draw, I had said it all interviews. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to show people that boxing's back.
Look, this was a weekend where this was an afterthought. People thought he was going to come in and blow you out. after what we saw from Canelo, after what we saw in New York City, and now you see Naoya Inoue handing you a T-shirt as a memento from this fight. What did you and Naoya Inoue do for boxing tonight? What did you and Naoya Inoue do for boxing tonight?
We set the stage. We set the stage for everybody else. We set the tempo in the sense of now next fights that come have to show out, because what we did tonight was legendary, man. You know, for the both of us, what we did tonight was legendary, and that's what it was.
Tonight you were in against the monster. I can't wait to see what you can do against a regular human being.
I just want to give a big shout out to all the fans that came out tonight. And quiero darle las gracias a todos los que vinieron hoy. Más que nada, viva México, cabrones. Aquí estamos para el rato.
5 de Mayo, Test. That is how you go out in Vegas.
What a great night.
Yes.
What a great.
So, it's supposed to be Marjan Akhmadaliev in September. The fight's already signed. Deal's already done. Eddie Hearn announced that. Akhmadaliev's pretty good. Actually a really good fighter. I've been covering him for, when did I first cover Akhmadaliev? First fight was Danny Ramon back in 2020. I don't remember covering any of these fights, have I? Was I at this one? No, I wasn't. A very solid fighter. I punch output can be somewhat questionable. But overall, what I seen Cardenas do, and the fact that Inoue is already on his way out the division to 126 pounds, I'm not sure about him at 126. I got to be honest. You know, and the Tank Davis fight has never happened, and let's just, you know, get that out of our heads. So it would be Akhmadaliev next in September, and if Junto beats Ryosuke Nishida, that's going to be in Japan on June the 8th. Just a little over a month from now. They're supposed to be meeting sometime at the beginning of the year or so. I don't think it's going to be at the end of the year, because, you know, the Japanese like to fight on New Year's and New Year's Day and all that. I doubt that. And it looks like Junto is not going to try to be undisputed at 118, or does he plan on fighting Inoue and then go back down to 118? That's going to be interesting. But when you look at 126, by the way, Shushu Carrington is not the mandatory at 122. He's the mandatory for Rafael Espinoza. And as you can see, when it comes to 126, you know, listen, Nick Ball, he's a short, little stocky type of fighter. I believe he's about 5'2". I think that that'll be a fight that'll be tailor-made for Inoue. You know, Angelo Leo, there's a question mark around him, but then again, Stephen Fulton beat him, and Inoue beat Stephen Fulton. And I'm not too impressed with Fulton at 126 just yet. After the Brandon Figueroa win, you know, it depends on how you view Brandon Figueroa. Ray Vargas, we don't know what the hell he's doing. He's all over the place. And Rafael Espinoza and Shushu Carrington should be happening next before any of them even get a sniff of Inoue. But overall, this was a really good card, especially with what we had going on over the weekend. Shout out to Rice Alim. Emiliano Vargas. It's time for him to really start moving a little faster. Rohan Polanco, I was walking the dog versus Fabian Madonna, so I didn't really get to see that. And Rafael Espinoza versus Edwin Vasquez. That was a pretty entertaining fight while it lasted. So once again, what are they talking about in here? This is State of Boxing. But yeah, solid turnout, solid into the weekend. Thanks Inoue for saving boxing. And as you can see, he's trending on social media to the point where even Oscar De La Hoya is Inoue saved Cinco de Mayo. Let's see what the scorecards were looking like here. Cardenas was only gave one round, rightfully so. That was the round he knocked down Inoue, and then he just got, you know, a boot put in his ass. But overall, I want to see Cardenas again. It's just that he needs a little bit more than just selling out on the hooks, because after a while, he kept throwing the same punches, and I'm surprised he didn't end up going to sleep. With that being said, I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightView 360. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe.